What's up, YouTubers? Shoot, it's like 2 something in the morning, and you can't sleep. So I figure, what the heck? Why not just talk about one of my favorite pro skaters and the part that started me going, hey, that guy's awesome. And public domain, Ray Barbie and the Rubber Boys, which was
Ray Barbie and Chet Thomas.
crazy about all that stuff is when you first put it in and you heard the circus music and they're introducing, Steve Sias, Ray Barbie, Chet Thomas, and Eric Sanderson, you're like, oh, it's like the beginning hype, and then all of a sudden the beginning of the music from Chuck Treece's just music just like mesmerizes you to that part as well. And it was all filmed like black and white, so it was like it just felt street raw. So it's like the beginning of the music, and you're like all amped. Yeah, that just like the beginning is just so crazy. It like pumps you up, and you like seeing them. They're just cutting through the street, and they're just ollieing over like little barricades and stuff like that. And you're like, dude, it's just so raw. So then like you're straight up hyped. You're so excited for the whole part that you want to go skate. So that's what's great about skate videos like that. And like Stacy Peralta definitely knew what was up, and kind of, I don't know if they lucked into a good song or if it was just, the whole vibe of the video was just, public domain was awesome, and it was just such a great vibe. But that part really, like, I think I watched it so many times. Like for Christmas, I asked my mom, like, we didn't have a VCR, and I worked at a skate shop, and I was like, Mom, all I want for Christmas is a VCR. And just to go borrow that video from the skate shop that I worked at to watch that. And I didn't even think I was getting the VCR, but Dave, who owned Lambretta, let me borrow the tape. And then Christmas, I was like, no way, VCR. So I must have watched it like 1,000 times before I went out and skated. It was like such a defining thing for me as a young skater. So it's like, no way, this is, what? Yes! Doing back then, he had his own style, which is so insane. The music changes, and you're like, what? And it starts getting faster, harder, and then all the real stuff like that they saved up till that part, like they're, and then you see backside no comply by Chet Thomas, and you see all of a sudden Ray does a nose pick, and then kickflip to axe, or kickflip to 5-0 stall on the bench, and then comes off, and you're like, you're blown away by this. And then there's a scene where they're going up on the bench and stuff, up the stairs, and you're like, dude, my mind's blown. This is one of the best parts in the world. So, that's a start for me as being a Ray Barbie fan, and all those guys. And like I said, I related. It made me want to go mimic them. It made me want to do everything that they did. It's like, oh, dude, those guys rule. I want to be on PAL, blah, blah, blah. And it's insane how at a young age, till this day, it's still a good part to me. I watch it lately at least once a week, because it just reminds me of when I was a kid and how awesome it was, and basically how I was so amped that Christmas, when I got my VCR, which sounds so funny. It's like, oh, you got a VCR, VHS tape, and you watched it 1,000 times and then went skating. And yeah, that's how videos were back then, because it's not like today where the internet's like video, 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 part, and it kind of takes away the nostalgia of like, there's still great videos out that come out, but it's not like, you had to wait a year before the next video or something like that, and like the build up, and you only saw stuff in the magazines until you saw it in the video. So, the old school videos are awesome that way. It just brought the hype back then. There wasn't that much You know, you had no internet, you had none of that. So it's so crazy. Like, it still affects me to this day as how awesome that is, and you know, it's insane. So I figure I'd show you my little tiny Ray Barbie collection. I mean, basically you saw the old school retro one I had the last vlog. So I got a couple other ones, and I actually skate. I was real stoked when they started coming out with the reissues, and I actually bought one, and I actually skated still, just goofing around and stuff. But it's really fun just to skate everything, you know. So it's more acceptable now since you know Welcome came out and stuff, and kind of squashed that whole. You know, Mike V did the same thing with the Elephant brand at first, and then you know his Street Plant. So and now and all the reissue stuff that comes out now is just insane. So it's like you can almost relive and ride the boards you rode when you were younger. So I'll just give you a real quick of what I got as far as what you know my Ray Barbie collection basically. So yeah, let's start out here. Is basically this is actually the one my first. There's actually a blue reissue that came out before this, which I used to have on my wall, and I ended up giving it to someone. But then I was so bummed because I found out they weren't going to have them anymore, and then all of a sudden this came out, so I bought this, and you know I've skated. It's actually pretty torn up now. Little chipper on the tail and the nose, and all the rips on the grip, and gotta have the Mike Miguel sticker. It's always been my thing. But yeah, it's so crazy because this is one of the longer paddle boards back then. Is you know 32 inches. It was made because he was tall. You know he's a tall dude. And then this is the one I'm gonna actually set up on another vlog where I'm gonna do spider grip tape or something like that just to be cool because I kind of really like that shape. So that's gonna be that. What's cool is this is the crooked Ray Barbie, which is you know limited. Of course I skated it because you know made to be skated. It was cool because Ray saw that in my trunk when I picked him up from the hotel to take him to a spot, Ramp 48. And he's like, "Oh, you got one of those? That's sick. It's limited. Wow, I'm glad. Wow, that's crazy." I was like, "Dude, should I take it off?" He's like, "No, no." He goes, "I can't believe you're skating though. That's cool." So I was pretty hyped on that. This one right here is this Element graphic, which what I really thought was cool is when I hung out with them, I think it was the second time, and I actually drew this on top of the grip, you know, just because I, you know, I used to have a big Ray Barbie fan. And what's cool about this is, what was cool is Ray was like, "Oh, I wish I would have used this color scheme. The primary colors are red, yellow, and blue," because he saw this and he was kind of hyped on how I drew it on the grip. And at least is Vans limited 15 years of Ray Barbie, which is really cool how they did the box, and they actually like put a bunch of pictures from like when he was in Thrasher and stuff. 15 years, Ray Barbie. Bought these off of eBay, which happened to be my size, which was awesome. It's supposed to come with a limited, you know, ragdoll shirt, but obviously, you know, this didn't have it when I got it. So, yeah. That's my small collection. Hopefully you enjoyed, like, you know, just, you know, my little story about one of my most influential skateboarders that I, you know, was hyped on. So, yeah. So, this is pretty much the end. Subscribe, like, you know, share, leave a comment, and hope you have an awesome night. Well, technically it's morning now. Take care.